Hello, we're going to go over how to roll coils today, and hopefully this part is pretty quick and simple. So again, just going to roll some coils. First thing you need to know for these first pieces where we are going to be showing our coils. So for example, on this one, it looks kind of like a little blue brain with feet on it. That we want to use our block clay. Okay, so when we do a later coil pot, we're going to just use our regular barrel clay. But on this one, because again, we're showing those coils and we're going to really be putting them under some stress, with our current clay situation, we are going to be using the block clay. It's also very important that your clay be soft enough to not just crack. So I don't know if you can see those cracks, hopefully you can. This is because this clay is getting a little bit dry. So make sure you are keeping clay that you're not using at that moment. Keep that a little bit wetter. You can even mist into your bags. Don't forget you've got the clay that you need to re-knead. That clay you may be good to re-knead and then roll your coils with, but it should not be just straight barrel clay for this particular project. Okay, things that you need to just practice rolling your coils. It's just that good clay. And I do recommend that you start out practicing rolling some coils before you get into your actual pot. You want to start out and actually just kind of squeeze out kind of a log of clay, and then you start to roll. Don't start out with a great big block of clay and try and roll your coils from that. You want to start it out kind of like that. Roll again, you can just kind of squeeze that out so you've got just that kind of log. And then as you're rolling the clay, you actually start with the tips of your fingers and you rock your clay, because you're pushing that clay just slightly ahead of your hands. You're not just staying parallel with the table. If you stay parallel with the table, you will flatten your coil and eventually just almost make it like into macaroni. It'll be hollow down through there. So this is the wrong way. Okay, so I'm just rolling it back and forth a little bit, and you can see that I'm starting to make this overlap there. It's starting to roll back in on itself, and that will make it hollow. And what does the air in there do? Does that cause you problems? So instead, you want to roll a full extension. And because I started that out poorly, it's making kind of a little thump, thump, thump sound. You want to make sure that you've got no debris in your way. And for these first pieces, it should be thicker than a pencil. So see, that's still a little bit thicker. Now my hands are fairly substantial, but for most of you, it's going to be kind of like your pointer finger thickness. If your hands are really small, definitely don't go as small as your pinky, but it should not be as small as a pencil. So just you can see that kind of as a comparison there. But compared to an expo marker, it is smaller than that. When you're working with your coils, if they are starting to crack, you know that your clay is probably either not aged very well, not prepared very well, or it's getting too dry. So this is actually getting a little dry. This was block clay that somebody left out uncovered by the slab roller, so it's just a little bit drier than what I really need. So again, to roll your coils, and this is your learning target, I can make successful coils, you want to make sure that you have good clay to start with. And so again, for this one, we're starting out with block clay. Kind of squeeze it into that log first and push that ahead of your hands. If it gets a little flat, set it on edge, tap that down, square it up a little bit, and then roll again. Starting with fingertips, going to the back of your hand. Make sure you're giving yourself enough space to really do that. Now notice where it's thinner, I'm not pressing now. Now I'm just rolling, putting pressure on where it's a little bit thicker. So move my hands back and forth there. All right, so practice that a couple times first. Make sure you can get good coils. If you can't get good coils, there's not much use in going further.